On to Is You With It or Nah. Today's debate is between the brothers, like normal. Kev and Dev. And it's going to be judged by Red O. Now, with the finals being 2-0 and it looking not looking good for the Cavs and LeBron, my question is, if LeBron can bring his team back from another comeback victory in the finals, can he be considered the GOAT? And that's the question. So
a Billy Goat? Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time. Ready? Who's picking?
I'll call it there. Tails.
It is Tails. So what is it?
I will take Nah.
All right, so who goes first, Kev?
You know what? I'm gonna argue for the king. I'll go first. I think I can convince the people.
Do that.
Well, you don't need to convince the people. You need to convince me.
Well, let me know. Let me know when the clock's
Let's
up.
go.
Okay, let's go.
For LeBron's career, I think he's changed the way that we should perceive greatness. I don't think it should be about perfection or the number of championships that one has won. But, because if that's the case, then Bill Russell wins this debate every time. I think the perception of greatness should more so be about how one overcomes obstacles in an attempt to become great in their pursuit of dominance. So there hasn't been one NBA great who's had to overcome what LeBron has had to in order to win championships. His tough upbringing forced him to forego the luxury of a college career and go straight to the NBA as an 18-year-old raw talent. He's never in his career had the high level of coaching or management that Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant has had. Paul Silas, Brendan Malone, Mike Brown, Eric Spoelstra, David Blatt, Omar's Tyronn Lue were LeBron's coaches. He has never had the Hall of Fame supporting cast that Magic or Larry Bird has had, and those two have both played with at least 3+ Hall of Famers when they won their championships. LeBron has had Mo Williams, Boobie Gibson, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Eric Snow, Mario Chalmers, Udonis Haslem. Those guys were his supporting cast. The best teammate LeBron has ever had is a 33, 34-year-old Dwayne Wade who only had one knee. No NBA player in history has taken a worse roster or a worse coach to the promised land the way that LeBron James has had. When he went to Miami and finally got a supporting cast, like those other champions, he went to 4 finals and won 2 of them. He came back to Cleveland, Bruce Wayne style, took the worst team in the league, straight to the finals. Although they did lose, they came up short because their second best player was injured. And in that finals, he actually should have won finals MVP despite the loss. So he came back to play that same team, the 73-9 win team that came back on the 3-1 loss. They've added Kevin Durant. And now if he for some reason can come up big against this team, I think we have to open up the floodgates to bring LeBron James into the conversation of great players, because no one has overcome those odds.
Y'all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I would first off like to start off with this is a moot point because there will be no fucking comeback this year. Then I like to list off a few names for you. Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. And I won't even mention Larry Bird, but I guess I just did. When did he surpass these guys? Now, he's an all-time great, but he's greatly benefited from the watered-down league that he's played in. Not his fault, but that's a part of it. This season, there were only 3 legitimate teams that could actually compete for a championship. He has no resistance to get to the finals whatsoever, at all. He's going to get there every year. The competition is weak. The style of play is something that has greatly benefited him as well. Just imagine if they officiated Shaq the same way they officiated LeBron and vice versa. You can't hand check anymore. Any hard or playoff foul is now a flagrant. Not to mention he's one of the most egregious floppers in the history of the NBA. If you want to bring up his stat stuffing and his triple doubles, he has some of the most empty stats of all time. He had 29, 14, and 11 the other day, and he only had 11, 4, and 7 in the second half when it mattered, when it was close. He basically disappeared. He destroys big men's careers. They can't post up. He turns them into 7-foot spot-up shooters. Although he makes mistakes and they're magnified because of who he is and all the stuff that he's put on him, he just disappears too much in too many big games. If it weren't for Ray Allen or Kyrie, he wouldn't have 2 of those 3 ships. Now, no one wins it on their own, but they basically bailed him out. If he does win this final, that'll put him at 4-4. But he won't, so he'll be 3-5. That's under 500. Now, again, he's an all-time great, but the shrinkage in his game that occurs in the big moments in this late stage of his career is the reason why he's not the GOAT.
Red O, what you guys say?
Hey, Omar.
Kev. I wanted to stop it at one point. How you gonna say this fool, Matt, you compare other players, how they play with Hall of Fame rosters, and then say he didn't win till he went to Miami. When he played with Hall of Famer Dwayne Wade, and then with Chris Bosh, who was a 2010 player, and a great coach in Spoelstra, which we didn't know back then.
And another Hall of Famer, Ray Allen.
Allen, yeah, like you can't use that art. He didn't win until he went there. So
Was that Hall of Fame Ray Allen though?
he was Hall of Fame enough to get him right on one shot.
Game 6.
One shot.
And then plus, again, I agree with Devin. This is moot.
Hey, so question, what will it take for him to surpass Michael?
I don't think it can ever, honestly. I think it's the eyeball test. I know Kenyon's hemming and hawing because his stats will bear out, but if you look at basketball and how the game is played and how he plays, one person shrinks, the other person steps up and gets it done.
I'm not hemming and hawing because of the stats, even though the stats is a compelling thing. It's really a fascinating conversation because I do feel like there is a generational sort of thing here. I fundamentally believe that he could never be the GOAT because Michael didn't go and team up with Isaiah Thomas. Michael didn't go and team up with Larry Bird. And regardless to what you think about, Dwayne Wade's game, Chris Bosh game, Ray Allen's game, or Kyrie Irving's game, or Kevin Love's game, like, he did that. He changed the NBA in that regard. Kevin Durant is on the Golden State Warriors because of his decision. And I think for that reason, you can't pass Michael Jordan, who he stayed where he stayed, you know what I mean, and did that.
Kev?
Yeah, it's funny. My true confirmation bias is no. I think even if LeBron does win 6 ships, I can't put him over Michael Jordan because I make this point all the time. There's nothing on Michael Jordan's resume that needs to be defended.